everyone, in this video I want to show you my Absolution build. This is a mid-tier budget, meaning that it's not an entirely starter setup. However, it is still not in the place where I want it to be. It can still be multiple times stronger, and when I say multiple times, I mean like more than 10 times, so there is very high end tier scaling. And there is quite a few good things about this build. Um, Absolution is quite a decent single target. It's not that amazing. I've played a little bit better build for single target. At least, well, it was higher end, so I'm still not sure. But yeah, it is quite a good skill for single target. It has right now, I would say, like 10 million DPS. It's hard to say because from what I heard, the PoB DPS doesn't represent the true DPS. So it's hard to say how exactly I have the DPS. But when I compared it to other builds, it seems like about 10 million DPS. So that's that. When it comes to the survivability, I don't have that much life, but that's because I recently spec'd into a lot of damage, so I have like about almost like, well, even maybe exactly like, or right around the number of like 1000 increase a million damage, 1000% increase million damage. So that's quite a lot. I achieved that by just normal skill tree that gave me like 400%. Then I slept to cluster jewels on top of it. And the last thing is I used Legion Jewel, which also had 3 minion damage nodes. So in the end, I have quite a lot. Also in combination with items, I didn't have like 400% increased damage just from the skill tree. It was also from the items. But yeah, about 500 like was the new addition of the damage. This build is like 40, 50 divines. I'm not sure exactly. Like every single item is few divine items, so that is the first thing. Then I'm using Val Absolution of level 21, which had cost me 20 divines, but there is very low supply. The other guy have it for 50, so if you want your Val Absolution level 21, um, it might be good idea to try to run Alva Temples, buy them, and try to get it yourself. So that is one possible solution. Yeah, and one of the good things about the build is that it is able to do all the map modes, like unlike it's not able to do reflect, but if you use sextant that you will be able to do reflect, then you can do it. And I'm using right now sextant that I can do reflect maps. The sextant has 16 uses and cost me like 18 chaos, so it was very cheap. And I'm able to do every single map, so that's pretty good. Okay, this seems like a decent expedition. The only downside is that it's like everywhere. I'm trying to run different maps, so okay, I will go here for stack decks. For those who don't know, stack decks are one of the best rewards in expedition. I would even say better than logbooks because they drop way more often, so they are more reliable. And yeah, based on my testing, just going for stack deck remnants is much better than going for logbook remnants. Okay, I'll take this thing here, and then I can still get here. I don't like the big explosion, by the way. It reduces your possibilities to really play with the expedition and get the most amount of that. I will finish the expedition later. I will try to get some quantity alters, which affects definitely the amount of currency you get from expedition, and also can affect, at least from what I heard, the amount of logbooks that drop. So it's better idea to kill the monsters with quantity alters if you can get them. So I will return there, but I cannot like get around the monsters, so I will probably need to, well, we'll see. No, I don't need to, well, I will need to kill at least some of them. You can see the amount of stack decks that drops is quite numerous. almost died, but I didn't die like exactly. So I killed a few monsters there and then go to finish the map. Yeah, I'm leveling few gems because I had used GCP on them. Well, I didn't use it on them. I sell them with GCP, which turned them to level 1, but 20 quality. It's much cheaper this way. And I'm getting so much experience that it doesn't really slow me down that much. Okay, then I'm doing this. Okay, get this position. This thing drops from altar quite a lot. If you get altar with minions, drop card, which drops currency. Um, this is something that you will get once or twice a map, so it will improve your like your earnings. And yeah, I'm quite tanky. The only thing that actually killed me in like last 100 maps was expedition. So I need to be careful around expedition. Uh, but yeah, expedition is the only thing that can kill me actually on these maps. Especially the mods like monsters overwhelm physical reduction, or even if I have Eldritch Altar, which makes my physical reaction to go to like negative values. That's also pretty bad, but most of the things are okay. So now it's going to be a little bit easier for me, so I can talk more about the build. So a lot of damage. The clear speed, as you could see, is also pretty good. Uh, the tankiness is also pretty good. It's being carried by a few things. I have decent armor. Not like amazing, but at least it didn't cost me a lot of investments. So I have decent armor. I have decent block. I have like, when I cast spell, that is like, well, normally it's like 36% chance and 22 for attacks. If I attack and cast spell, I have much more. And if I get a random bone offering, I'm actually attack and spell block at 75. And my offerings are being cast like every 5 seconds randomly. You can see also I almost again died. They're being cast randomly through this body armor. And the reason why I use it is because the offerings also work on me. They wouldn't work on me otherwise. So this is actually pretty good body armor. Gives me a lot of shield, which is good for Eldritch Battery. And gives me some spell block. Gives me some life. So that's pretty decent body armor. You can also get it corrupted with +2 levels, potentially even +4 levels, but I didn't get it in this league, so I have +2 levels, but it's still very good. Um, so pretty good mid-tier body armor. Um, the late tier body armor is like the Dorianis prototype, but I don't need the damage just yet, so it's okay. Okay, this is almost done. The map, there is only harvest waiting for me. I'm also doing harvest the last. Sometimes I forget for dollar like that I have the harvest, so that is bad because harvest is quite a huge source of money. You get a lot of things, especially if you have high pack size and high quantity. But I forgot where exactly it is. I think that it's somewhere here, but I'm not exactly sure where. Yeah, it's down here. I'm not using crop rotation right now. From the testing I've done, it is very unreliable. And from what I heard, it doesn't give you like more uh, the seeds on average, but it allows you to choose easier which kind of seeds you want to focus on. So if like one type of seed is much more expensive, it's better in that case. But it does give you generally less seeds, at least based on the video that I've seen and based on the testing that someone else did. This is more reliable and it doesn't seem much worse, so I'm just doing the default version. Okay, right now I have the block, what is it, block 7575. So you can see that sometimes I have the max block. There is other thing that is flash offering that is also making it much easier for me to move and to cast spells. So that is also a little bit on the damage side and also on the defense side. And there is the spirit offering, which right now is not doing almost anything. Because I'm not like full crit yet. So that's that. Any additional thoughts? My life region is like 300, so it's decent. And every 4 seconds it regenerates my entire life, and yeah, it's pretty good. So that is one source of recovery. Another source of recovery, I have this amulet. It gives me percentage of missing health whenever I'm hit. So that it's very hard for enemy to kill me. So that's pretty good. Um, Another source of recovery, also with these gloves, you can see that they are pretty good. I have life leech from lightning damage. I have like 200,000 damage, so I'm also leeching. I have unearth on it because it just improves my damage. I will not actually go over the gems. It's like for full guide video, but I want to just show you my items. I'm using Darkness and Torn with pretty good Ghastly Eye Jewels. Each of them like over Divine, definitely, maybe even like 4 Divines, I'm not sure. The boots are also pretty decent. They are missing one prefix, but it will, if I try to exalt it, it will probably be bad, so I don't even try. The rings, obviously over divine, like this one is like 4, 8 divines, hard to say. Um, just some damage and attack speed. This one is only attack speed, could be better, but I'm collecting currency right now to improve the build. Yeah, I had bought the +2 levels body armor and then 6 link it myself. I didn't use the tainted fusing method, I used the crafting bench, which had cost me like 6 divines. So yeah, I could save some money there. Yeah, the helmet I already showed to, it is also multiple divine. The shield, I think it's not that crazy, it's only +1 level and few defensive stats, so probably could be improved relatively easily, but I'm not sure. And the wand is also pretty good, also quite expensive. I don't need the skills, what I need is more of the increased damage, and uh, critical strike chance also would be great, and um, yeah, I will be happy for that, maybe even +1 more level, but pretty close to being good. So yeah, I can do every single map mode except reflect. I can do reflect with sextant, so I can pretty much actually do everything. Uh, I can do all Eldritch Altars with ease. The only thing that kind of kills me a lot is that enemies overwhelm my physical interaction. It doesn't matter on the Eldritch minions because they hit very lightly. But if it's global mode, then the expedition kills me extremely easily. And when it comes to expedition, there is also a hell lot of mods that break a lot of builds, but I kind of get around it. I want to actually show you which kind of mods that I got. This was Rock, by the way, so you have pretty much no chance at getting any money by dropping the currency. But what we can focus on are logbooks and stack decks. I got 14 stack decks, each of them is like 3.5 kills, so it's like still like 40 kills at least just from that. So that's pretty good. When it comes to the monster the minion had is extra chaos damage, so you need some chaos resist. I have actually, how much is it? 56. I didn't even know that I have that much. So yeah, that's pretty good. You need like definitely like at least zero. Recently I had 30, so it seems that I have right now 56. It could go even higher with the tools which are in this league. Yeah, I will go over the skill tree later. Hits cannot be evaded, so if you are purely evasion build, this will kill you. If there is mode that monsters overwhelm physical damage reduction, that is the thing that kills me a lot. These monsters hit extremely hard, they hit like for few thousands. And if they have a few damage mods, which they often do, because the Eldritch Altars, sometimes, as you can see here, the extra chaos. Yeah, sometimes the map mods, they are hitting for like 5 6,000, and without a physical damage reduction to reduce the base hit, uh, you are going to be shredded, especially by certain monsters. So yeah, expedition is the only thing that can actually kill me, because these monsters hit very hard, and they hit often, so they are absolutely damage dealers. Yeah, now the skill tree. So Guardian, um, this thing helps you to level out like extremely easily. The only thing that it does in late game, because it doesn't do any damage right now, is that it taunts enemies, which I'm not exactly sure how it works, if it like taunts all nearby enemies or only the ones that it hits. But let's just say that it sometimes taunts enemies. And 20% of damage taken from my health to the minion's health is extremely good. I am like right now at like 4000 health, but if I use the minion, it is almost like if I had 5000 health. So I'm not even squishy. So that's pretty good. Then I have the relics, which gives me pretty much level 27 anger, wrath, and hatred auras. And this is good because if I get like lightning immunity, I can still do it. Because I still have hatred, which is a lot of uh, extra cold. I'm using added fire damage because the anger almost doesn't do anything, and the added fire damage awaken gem gives me +1 level and also a lot of fire damage. So if there is like lightning immunity, I can still do it because I deal some cold and fire. So I'm not exactly like countered by the expedition mods. Yeah, so that's that. Let's continue. Yeah, and it also adds a lot of damage. Then I have this thing for defense. It increases my block. As you can see, without nothing, I have pretty bad block. If I attack and cast spell, I am like around 50%. So that's pretty good. And the last thing is regeneration, because there is nothing else to take. And summoners usually have problem with getting their health back. I don't have that much of a problem because I have leech, so I can leech, I can use health flask. I have some base regeneration, 300, which is like 8% of my health, so that's pretty good. What else do I have? Yeah, I have health whenever I'm hit. It gives me back some health. And with this, I have even more regeneration. And this is especially required and especially important if I'm doing maps with like 80% less recovery. So yeah, you can imagine if it's like 20% of your max life, maximum leech cap, uh, it is pretty good. But if you do 80% less recovery instead of 20%, it's gonna be like only 20% of that. So 4% of your life leech per second, and that is the maximum amount. So that's going to be pretty bad. But if you have the 100% health regeneration over 1 second, it is pretty much every 4 seconds you regenerate 20% of your health, which is at least something. Then if you add a little bit of leech into it and a little bit of regen, it is doable. So I can do even less recovery maps. I can do no regeneration maps because I can still leech health. I have shield recharge. Also, when it comes to the less recovery, it destroys my shield recharge, and I don't have shield leech, which I could for 1 point, but I didn't speak into it because I don't need it, because I also have unreserved mana. And the unreserved mana is not impacted by the less recovery. So I'm still recharging some shield, and I'm also recovering some mana. So it's like double recovery if I keep some mana unreserved. So that's because of the less recovery kind of thing. So yeah, what is there like bad mode? Minus max resistances. It doesn't usually matter that much. Uh, it can kill me, but doesn't happen too much. It is not that much of a scary mode. There is also a lot of crit that can sometimes happen. This sometimes kills me, but it's not that much of a problem. The biggest issue I have is like, for example, the thing that the uh, Eldritch minions have right now overwhelmed physical damage reduction. I'm relying quite a lot on physical damage reduction, so without it, it's pretty bad. Um, yeah. So that's pretty much my build. Mid-tier, mid-tier budget, I would say like 40-50 divines. A lot of things will be improved here. Like the absolute end game will be like just better items. Get here like more resistances, maybe more life, maybe slightly better increased damage. I'm not sure. Get the same ring here. Get a little bit better wand with like +1 more level and even more increased damage and also critical strike chance for my minions. The boots are gloves are pretty okay. Maybe some minion damage on my shield. And when it comes to the body armor, I would need to use Dorianis prototype for the maximum DPS, and I would need to require, or I would be required to change my amulet, which would make me squishier from enemy hits, but the Dorianis prototype uh, would give me like 3 times more damage or something like that. And also I would need to corrupt the Dorianis prototype to have at least +2 levels. But obviously the ultimate late game would be +4 levels. So yeah, there is a lot of room to go. I still haven't go much into crit. Like my minions can crit, but they pretty much don't. So uh, that's that. And I didn't go into Dorian's prototype, so there are like 2 big damage multipliers waiting for me in the late game. My current DPS is like 10 million DPS, and yeah, it could be much bigger. So thanks for watching and see you next time.